You know how companies get sued for false advertising? Well, nature should be in court every day because half the animals walking around are basically running elaborate scams. Some look cuddly, but are plotting your death. Others look terrifying, but couldn't hurt a fly. A few are straight up catfishing the entire ecosystem. Animals have been lying to us about what they are, what they do, and what they're capable of for millions of years. And we keep falling for it. Number 1. Pandas are professional grifters. Pandas have convinced the entire world they're endangered, precious babies that need our help. And we've spent billions keeping them alive. Except pandas aren't really endangered anymore, and they're absolutely terrible at being bears. These things have the digestive system of a carnivore, but decided to eat exclusively bamboo, which means they absorb almost no nutrients and have to eat for 14 hours a day just to not die. They have a carnivore's short gut, carnivore enzymes, and carnivore teeth, but bamboo gives them so little energy that females are only fertile for 24 to 72 hours per year. Wild pandas will sometimes eat meat if they find it, proving they remember their bears. But captive pandas have forgotten how to mate without watching instructional videos. We show them panda porn. We've shown captive pandas footage of other pandas having sex because they're so bad at reproduction that they need a tutorial. Zoos have spent decades trying everything from artificial insemination to Viagra to panda dating shows, and these animals still act like they've never seen another panda before. The scam is complete because we think they're cute. So we dump money into saving an animal that's actively trying to go extinct through sheer incompetence. And we call it conservation. Number 2. Koalas are even worse. If you think pandas are bad, koalas are running the same scam but with even less dignity. Koalas eat eucalyptus leaves, which are so toxic that most animals won't touch them, and so low in nutrition that koalas had to evolve the smoothest brains in the mammal kingdom to conserve energy. Their brains don't touch the sides of their skull. There's just this tiny, smooth blob rattling around in there, because thinking burns calories they don't have. Baby koalas can't digest eucalyptus at first, so the mother feeds them her own feces for weeks until their gut develops the right bacteria. This isn't some rare emergency behavior. This is standard procedure. Every koala's childhood starts with eating shit because evolution looked at these animals and went, yeah, that tracks. Koalas are so stupid that if you put eucalyptus leaves on a flat surface instead of a branch, they won't recognize it as food. They'll starve to death next to a pile of their only food source because it's not attached to a tree. Over half of koalas have chlamydia. They're functionally brain dead, they eat poison and poop, and somehow we decided they're a national treasure worth protecting. Australia's tourism board is running a psyop. Number 3. Slow lorises look cute until they poison you. Slow lorises have huge eyes and look like living stuffed animals, which is why people keep trying to keep them as pets, despite the fact that they're one of the only venomous mammals on Earth. They have a gland on their elbows that produces toxin, and they lick it to coat their teeth before biting. The venom can cause anaphylactic shock in humans, and it hurts like hell. But that's not even the darkest part of the slow loris trade. Those videos of slow lorises being tickled that went viral, the animals are terrified. When slow lorises raise their arms like that, they're not enjoying a tickle. They're accessing their venom glands because they think they're about to die. Those videos show an animal in extreme distress trying to deploy its only defense mechanism, and millions of people shared them thinking it was adorable. The illegal pet trade catches wild slow lorises and rips out their teeth with wire cutters or nail clippers. No anesthesia, so they can't envenom their captors. Most of them die from infection or stress within months. Slow lorises are critically endangered because they photograph well, and people can't tell the difference between cute and absolutely miserable. So the scam here is that the animal looks friendly, but is actually venomous, and the humans are the ones getting scammed into torturing them. Number 4. Dolphins are ocean sociopaths. Dolphins have spent decades with this reputation as intelligent, friendly, helpful sea angels, and we bought it completely. Bottlenose dolphins have been observed killing porpoises for no reason, not for food or territory, just for fun. They'll toss baby porpoises around like volleyballs until they die from internal injuries. Male dolphins form gangs that will corner females for days or weeks, taking turns mating with her whether she cooperates or not. If another male tries to interfere, the gang will attack him. Sometimes they'll kidnap females from other pods. Dolphins will also sexually assault humans, other species, and occasionally dead fish, because they're horny chaos agents with big brains and no supervision. Scientists have documented dolphins getting high by carefully chewing on pufferfish, which release small amounts of toxins that apparently get dolphins stoned. They pass the pufferfish around in a circle like a joint. There's footage of this. Dolphins are smart enough to have culture, language, and names for each other, and they use all that intelligence for organized crime and drug use. The scam is that we made them the mascots of ocean conservation when they're actually running underwater gangs, and we should probably be less surprised when they're aggressive. Number 5. Orcas are dolphins, but worse. Orcas are actually dolphins, just huge ones, which means they have all the dolphin sociopathy, but with the size and power to do real damage. Orcas will hunt great white sharks, specifically to eat their livers and leave the rest of the shark to rot. They've learned that if you flip a shark upside down, it goes into tonic immobility, basically a paralyzed state. So orcas will flip sharks, wait for them to suffocate, then rip out the liver because it's rich in fats and nutrients. They're smart enough to know shark anatomy. Different orca pods have different hunting techniques that they teach their young, which means they have culture. And some of that culture is psychological warfare against seals. Orcas in the Pacific Northwest will slap seals 80 feet into the air with their tails. Not to kill them quickly, but because launching a seal is apparently entertaining. They'll play with their food for an hour before eating it. Orcas in captivity have killed trainers. And honestly, the surprise is that it doesn't happen more often. Because we took apex predators that swim 100 miles a day and put them in pools. The scam is the name killer whale makes them sound scary, but orca makes them sound friendly, when really, they're just dolphin-sized genius hunters with a taste for liver. Number 6. Hippos are more dangerous than they look. Hippos look like giant blob-shaped herbivores that sit in rivers being cute and round, so people assume they're like huge water cows. Well, hippos kill around 500 people per year in Africa. More than lions, leopards, or crocodiles. They're not predators, they're not eating anyone, they're just incredibly territorial and can run 30 miles per hour on land despite weighing up to 4,000 pounds. Hippos have 20-inch canine teeth that they use like spears, and their bite force is around 1,800 pounds per square inch, strong enough to bite a crocodile in half. They will attack boats for getting too close, they'll charge at people on riverbanks, and they have terrible eyesight, so they can't always tell if you're a threat until they've already decided to kill you. Male hippos fling their feces by spinning their tails like propellers to mark territory, covering everything in a 10-foot radius with shit shrapnel. Hippos are responsible for more human deaths than almost any other large animal in Africa. But we made them cute purple characters in kids' movies and put them in tutus. The scam is visual. They look goofy and harmless, but they're murder machines that can outrun you and bite through bone. And they're mad about something basically all the time. Number 7. Hyenas got blamed for being ugly. Hyenas have been getting screwed by their reputation for centuries because they look weird and laugh. So everyone decided they were cowardly scavengers. Spotted hyenas hunt 95% of what they eat. Lions are the ones stealing food from hyenas more often than the reverse. But lions look regal, so they get to be the noble hunters, while hyenas got cast as villains in The Lion King. Hyena social groups are run by females, who are larger and more aggressive than males. And female hyenas have what's called a pseudopenis, which is basically an enlarged clitoris that they urinate, mate, and give birth through. Giving birth through a pseudopenis that's basically the same size as a male's penis means first-time mothers have a 60% infant mortality rate, because the birth canal is too narrow and curves wrong. Evolution designed a system where female hyenas are dominant, but pay for it by having nightmarish anatomy that makes reproduction incredibly dangerous. Hyenas are also smart enough to count, cooperate in complex hunts, and solve puzzles, but we decided they were stupid because they laugh. The laugh is actually a stress response that means the hyena is anxious or excited, not that it's enjoying anything. The scam is that hyenas are incredible hunters and problem solvers with complex social structures, but got branded as ugly, cowardly, laughing idiots because we judge them on aesthetics. Number 8. Red pandas aren't pandas. Red pandas are called pandas, but have basically nothing to do with giant pandas, except that they both eat bamboo sometimes. Red pandas are more closely related to raccoons, skunks, and weasels than they are to bears. They're in their own taxonomic family because they're so weird that scientists couldn't figure out where to put them for decades. Red pandas are about the size of a house cat. They have semi-retractable claws like a cat. They're mostly solitary, and they can rotate their ankles to climb down trees head first like a squirrel. They eat bamboo, but they'll also eat fruit, insects, eggs, and birds if they can catch them. So they're not locked into the eat one toxic plant and suffer strategy like giant pandas. Red pandas have been around for millions of years, way longer than giant pandas. So if anyone should be called pandas, it's them. But they got the red qualifier because giant pandas got famous first. The scam is in the name. Red pandas are their own thing entirely, not a variant of the black and white bears everyone thinks of. But they get grouped together anyway because marketing works, and red panda sounds cuter than bamboo-eating raccoon weasel. They're also endangered because of habitat loss and poaching, but they get way less attention than giant pandas, despite being objectively more functional as animals. Number 9. Slow worms aren't worms or slow. Slow worms are legless lizards that live in Europe, and people constantly mistake for snakes or giant worms. They're neither. They have eyelids, external ear openings, and breakable tails like other lizards, but they lost their legs millions of years ago and just decided to keep the lizard lifestyle without limbs. Slow worms can live up to 30 years in the wild, which is absurdly long for a small reptile. And they're not slow at all, despite the name. They can move pretty quickly through grass and undergrowth when they want to. The name comes from Old English, where slow meant something like sluggish or slothful. But it's stuck, even though it's inaccurate. Slow worms eat slugs, worms, and insects. So they're helpful for gardens, but people kill them thinking they're snakes. Female slow worms can store sperm for months after mating and give birth to live young instead of laying eggs, sometimes producing babies years after they last mated with a male. If attacked, they'll drop their tails just like other lizards, but the tail doesn't grow back as completely. The scam is everything about the name and appearance. They're not worms, they're not particularly slow, they're not snakes, and they're legitimately useful animals that get killed because of mistaken identity and bad branding. Animals aren't really running scams, obviously. They're just trying to survive and reproduce using whatever evolution gave them. And humans keep assigning them personalities and moral qualities based on how they look or what we want them to be. We decide something is cute, so it must be innocent, or ugly, so it must be evil, or big. The real scam is that we keep getting surprised when nature doesn't match our cartoons. And as always, I love you guys.